Welcome, Justin. I'm excited to have you on here. I've heard a fair bit about your career. You've had a pretty big history, from what I can tell, of different things I've seen. You've had really long running show in Vegas, over 12 years on the Strip, a couple of
Oh
years
yeah.
in Broadway. Your website tells me you had nearly 11,000 shows. It's like
Yeah, pretty much.
10,823,
Something
I
like that.
think.
Something like that. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a pretty massive career. So I'd like
Yeah.
to hear how you got to that point of what started it all, and what
Oh,
steps you took.
well, let me break it down. But first of all, 6,000 of those shows, I think it was about 6,000 of those shows were actually done in Las Vegas, headlining.
Wow.
6,000 of them. So, yeah. But how it all started, how it all began, I was around 7 years old. And I saw this hypnosis show at a carnival, a fair, you know. And I thought to myself, if I could learn this, I could go home and control my parents. Yeah. So that's what got me into it. Okay. And of course, I went out and I tried to find all the books and everything, thing like that, about it. But here's what took me over the top, really. I went to the bookstore, okay,
Yep.
and I asked the guy at the bookstore. Because remember, well, by that time I'm maybe eight or so. I was seven when I saw it, maybe eight-ish or so though. And I'm talking to the bookstore guy. And to me, he's the guy that owns the bookstore and knows everything about every book in the bookstore. He's the bookstore guy. Okay. Now, he was probably just a minimum wage clerk, you know,
Yes.
that's just working in a bookstore. But to me, he owned it. He knows everything. So I said, Mister, is hypnosis real? And he went, oh my God, it's real. It's fantastic. It's da 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 yada 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 yada. That's all he had to tell me because he's the bookstore guy. Remember, he knows everything. So I asked him, sell me a book. Sell me a book. Which one? And he sold me a book, though. Now, from that point on, I never had to ask anyone ever again if hypnosis was real
Yep.
because the bookstore guy already told me.
Yeah. You'd been
Okay.
hypnotized to believe it.
Exactly. So then I believed it, went in, going at it. Now I get into it, and I'm trying to hypnotize my mother, and she's going like, fading out of me like this, like that, and I think I've got her right. I'm going, oh my God, I got her, and she's like this, and she goes, psych. That was so cruel. It was so cruel. And she did that over and over and over again. But also, what happened was I started hypnotizing my little friends and stuff like that, and stuff started to work. And then I read more and more books. Went to all different kinds of schools. Like one of my mentors is Orman McGill. One of my mentors. Okay.
He's the man of stage.
Well,
Was the man. Now it's Justin Tranz.
I got to keep it real.
Yep.
Orman McGill was a lovely man. I respect him highly, wonderful human being, giving soul, just wonderful person. But in my opinion, his hypnosis was kind of horrible.
Yep.
And I know that all the hypnotists out there that don't know him, never ever met him, and even the ones that did try to make him seem like that he's a god. Well, I really knew him, learned from him, studied from him, and I like to keep things real. And me keeping things real, kind of actually causes problems at times.
Okay.
Okay. you know, but Orman was a lovely man, treated me very well. But I've got to be honest, his hypnosis really wasn't that wonderful or that great. And if you look at his book, the Encyclopedia of Hypnosis,
Yep.
it's a very old book. It's a classic. It's supposed to be the Bible of stage. Well, if you read it, the language was out of date when I read it 30 some, 40 some years ago.
Yeah.
When I read it was out of date. Okay. So then imagine now it's way, 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 way out of date. But anyway, lovely man, wonderful human being. But just I didn't really like his hypnosis at all.
Okay.
At all. Now, let's talk about someone who I did like. Let's say Gil Boyne.
Yeah.
A lot of people have actually heard of him. Well, Gil Boyne gets a very bad rap of being arrogant and pompous and da-da-da-da-da. Okay, fine. He was. Okay. But phenomenal hypnotist. I respect him like bow. You know what I mean? I mean, the guy was amazing at what he could do because you would go to his class. Okay. Back in the day, I'm going to all these different classes. All hypnotists gave you a script to memorize, okay, and they never really hypnotized anyone in class.
Yeah.
It was all theory, and they tell you all these stories of what they did, but they never showed you what they did. Gil Boyne was the first school that I ever went to that actually hypnotized everyone in the class one by one. Blew me away. So anyway, and I have others I could actually mention too, people and stuff like that. But that's how I got started. And the first thing I did when I got into hypnosis was I went into hypnotherapy. A lot of people don't know that I started in hypnotherapy and did that for about 10 years ever before I even took the stage, ever. Okay. Had a office and the whole thing, furniture, and I did it. That's what I did. But I always wanted to do stage, always wanted to. And then I got kind of burnt out with the hypnotherapy and then started doing stage. And I was trying to do stage shows and I was going to all the comedy clubs all over the country, talking to them, wanting to work for them. And none of them would actually give me, and none of them would give me a chance.
Yep.
Because it sort of is this way still. When a comedy club or a college has a hypnotist, they only use one. And they keep that hypnotist forever. Even though comedy clubs use thousands of comics, okay, thousands of them, but they'll only use one hypnotist. So I couldn't get any work. I'm trying to go to the fairs to actually do work too, and the fairs are doing the same thing. They use one hypnotist. That's it. They're there until they die. Okay. So I happen to own a bunch of magic shops because I also do magic, and most people do not know that. But I owned 5 magic shops in Las Vegas at that time. And what I did is I went to myself and I said, wait a minute, I'm trying to play these carnivals and fairs, these comedy clubs, colleges. I'm not getting anywhere with this, I'm in Vegas. Knock, knock, knock. The doors open. And the rest is history. Okay. Mm-hmm. And everything came from me playing Vegas.
That's amazing. Do you remember what that first book was when you were a kid?
No. I was actually trying to think of it, and I don't remember what it was called. And I have hundreds of hypnosis books, yep. Hundreds of them. But no, I don't actually. Hardback.
Yeah. Do you remember your first show when you first stepped on stage?
Oh yes.
How was that for you?
My first professional show was at a college, Temple University in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where I'm from.
Yep.
And now let me tell you why the show was very difficult, but it went very well. As you're listening to me speak, you may hear me stutter at times. When I was a child, I was a very severe stutterer. And through the years of hypnosis and just talking and getting out there, I've become more and more fluent all the time. So understand that I'm a person that wants to be on stage, wants to do hypnosis, wants to do all this stuff, but I stutter really badly. Let me explain to you about what really badly is. I couldn't go into a department store and ask where the bathroom was. It'd be like, I mean, bad.
Wow.
I couldn't
Yeah.
go into, let's say, McDonald's and order a cheeseburger. I'd be up there going, I want a fish sandwich, please. I mean, I'd have to eat stuff that I could say because it was so painful and embarrassing. Okay, I had to eat what I could say,
Wow.
and I wanted a cheeseburger really bad,
Yep.
but I'd have to settle for like a hot dog or French fries or a fish sandwich or something that I didn't want. Oh, that was horrible. It was horrible. So anyway, I go and I do this show, and I'm a severe stutterer. But what I did is I practiced everything I was going to say word for word. And that's kind of how I kind of slowly got through it by just doing it like that. And the show worked. It worked out wonderfully well. And again, the rest is history, just started doing more and more shows and stuff like that. So yeah.
So with the stuttering, did you do some self-hypnosis on that, or it's just from the practice of working on a script that you got it dialed down, that you got rid of it? Or
a combination of things.
Yep.
Hypnotherapy, of course, self-hypnosis, and speech therapy as well.
Yep.
So a combination of all those things. And doing one thing that is kind of like one of my mantras, I dare to fail.
Yes.
I dare to fail. And so I always knew this. I figured out as a kid that people that know how to speak well can make a lot of money.
Yeah.
Speakers make money. Now, mind you, I'm 63, almost 60. I'll be 63 in August, okay? So then I knew as a child back in those days that if you could speak, you could make lots of money. So that was a very motivating fact for me to become fluent, because I knew I could make a lot of money if I could just speak well. So, motivated.
Yes. Speaking of the dare to fail, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask for
Please.
one of your biggest failures, because failure you learn from. So I'm sure you've got a good piece of failing in your repertoire that has expanded your career or opened up who Justin became.
Okay. We wouldn't even be here talking. No one would even know me, who I am. I wouldn't understand hypnosis to the level that I understand it. And I believe that I'm just, like I said, your audience, people listening, I know my stuff. I really do. Okay. If I didn't, I wouldn't have done all the things I've done. So let me say this then. If I would have never played Las Vegas, if I would have never been able to play Las Vegas, I wouldn't be this good. And let me explain. Before I played Las Vegas, I was like everybody else. I had a script and I memorized it. And that's how I did hypnosis. And I did normal suggestibility test, finger magnets, light, heavy hands, okay. What other ones I got? Clasp your hands. All the classics that I don't like, that I don't do, that I don't believe in at all. And I teach people not to do those and show them something else to do. But back to the point. Without playing Las Vegas, you wouldn't know me. We wouldn't be talking, because I would have not gotten this good. Meaning, when I got to Vegas and started playing, I said, you know what? I'm not going to do hypnosis like everybody else. Progressive relaxation, suggestibility test. No. I've got to do entertaining hypnosis, rapid hypnosis, instant hypnosis. It's a show. I want to see people being hypnotized one by one, not in groups, not in chairs, because if you've ever seen my stuff, everyone stands up when they come on my stage. I invite anyone that wants to come up. They do not get to sit in chairs, and many times there are no chairs for them to sit in anyway, even if they wanted to. They're not even there.
I watched one last night where there was chairs, but it was
They're-
their pet chair that they end up having sex with.
Oh, well,
So that was
they
quite
get
entertaining.
They get chairs, but not at first. Not at first. So I just think that I wanted to do something completely different that no one else had ever done. And that meant starting a hypnosis show with people standing up,
Yep.
hypnotizing people standing up, laying them on the ground, hypnotizing people in the audience. And if you watch my show, the first hypnosis that I really do is an eye lock. Who does an eye lock as an induction, really? Instant induction, an eye lock. I do. Because if you fail, oh my God, you're stuck.
Yeah.
Right there. It's like, okay, it didn't work on anybody. What do you do next? Tap dance? Sing? I don't know. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is, if I hadn't have played Vegas, you wouldn't know me. We wouldn't be here. I'm not on anybody's show. I'm not doing any commercials for IKEA. Working with the NBA, the Russian teams, everything I've ever done, it just wouldn't have happened. I would have been doing progressive relaxation and suggestibility tests like most hypnotists do.
Yeah.
So Vegas is what really, really blew me up. So I get on stage and I tear up the script. The script is gone. I've got to make up stuff now. Just make it up. I start making up stuff. But check this out. Nobody knows if it's working or not because I can turn it into anything I want. They don't know what I'm going to do. And if it fails, I've got progressive relaxation in my pocket. You know what I mean? If I need it, well, I get on stage and I start doing things to people, and it begins to work. And it works again and again and again and again and again. And then I created or discovered a way of working with people and hypnotizing people very, very quickly, effectively. Now, my feeling is, for a hypnotherapist, if you don't understand the secrets of stage hypnosis, and I mean real stage hypnosis, not the progressive stuff, not the suggestibility test stuff, but real hypnosis, real suggestion. If you really understand that, it makes you a better hypnotherapist. Because if you can make someone believe in moments that there's music coming out of their shoe, you can't get them to stop smoking? Really? It's a snap. Okay. So that's what it's all about. I dared to fail. And I did fail on stage, but it never looked like a failure because I'd always turn it into something else. I always had an out.
Fantastic.
And there you go.
And you mentioned briefly the sports stuff, the NBA.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
How did you first get into the sports side of things?
Okay. For me, it was right place, right time, knowing the right person.
Yep.
The NBA was looking for a hypnotist to do a stage show. Whoever they had, I think something did not work out. They were scrambling, looking. They called someone that was a hypnotherapist that doesn't do stage, but knew of me. I had never met them before, but my reputation precedes me. So they reached out to me and asked me if I wanted to do it. And they said to me that they wanted 10% of the deal. Just this one time. Whatever I do with the NBA from that point on, I keep. It's all mine. Well, I've been doing it for the last 6 years or so, the NBA. So that's what got me in the door.
Yep.
And once I was in the door, of course, the players, the owners, the coaches are seeing me do some pretty interesting stuff. Okay. And then, of course, I tie it into, of course, how it can help them. because I was really hired just to do a stage show.
Yes.
But that's it. But of course, I made the stage show into a stage show / lecture on how to improve their basketball. Now then, I've got all these guys looking at me, wanting to know me. Can you help me? Can you help me? Oh, of course I can help you. Yeah. And that's how it happened. That's how I actually honestly got in the act door.
Mm.
So that's why I got in.
So what are some of the best wins you've had with the NBA? I know you've recently had some success with Russia.
Oh, yes. It was Russia, over in Russia. I did. I generally do not necessarily always work with teams.
Yep.
I work with specific players on teams.
Yep.
That's what I generally do. So that's how it works for me. I get players that want to play better, and they contact me because I'm already kind of known, and it's word of mouth and referrals, like that.
Yeah.
So that's how it basically works with me right now.
Okay.
I work with players.
Fantastic. I also heard you've done a lot of work with boxers over the years as well, and had some success in there.
Oh yes, very much. I have. There's a piece that you may have seen on Fox Sports with me actually hypnotizing a boxer, and I worked with him twice, and in both times he won. But the guy retired. He quit and did not go on. So I was kind of hurt about that because I was going to help him go to the championship and maybe fight Mike Tyson back in those days. But for some reason, he gave up, he stopped. And it wasn't because he was losing, because he was winning. Okay. But he chose to stop. So it was like, life in the fast lane.
Yes, that happens. Yeah, people got other goals sometimes. And I was also really intrigued once I started looking into your stuff with the Playboy show, The Extreme Truth. That had some interesting things occur.
It's extreme. Let me tell you how that. I'm just going to tell you the facts here. So I got a phone call from a friend that Playboy had this TV series called The Extreme Truth. I should watch it. I tuned in, I watched it. And my thoughts were, wow, I could do this better. I could do this better. And that's what I thought. Now, let me tell you what happens next. Maybe a couple of months later, Playboy calls me out of the blue and asks me if I want to do the show. And I go, well, yeah, sure I do. Well, they said to me, I have to audition. And they're not going to pay me to come there the first time. But if they call me back, they're going to pay me from like that point on. So I went out there. From Vegas to Los Angeles, 45-minute flight.
Yeah.
I mean, it's you were there. So anyway, I get there, and it's cheap. I get there, and to make a long story short, I competed against 40 different hypnotists and got the show. Now, they had a hypnotist, and if you do your research, you can see who was doing it before me. Okay. Well, the show bombed the first season. It bombed. And they were going to cancel it. And they took the show to a focus group. And the focus group said to them, it's a great show. You need to change the hypnotist and find a better hypnotist, someone with more personality, something, whatever. And so then that's when they started like looking. Okay. And I got it. The show went from the bottom to Playboy's #1 show of all time. That's what it went to. Now, so anyway, that's that story.
Yeah, it was, and from the little bits I've listened to, just on some clips I could find, there was some fairly extreme truth. And
very extreme.
Yeah. I was questioning how stupid were some of these people to even sign up for the show with what stuff was coming out of their mouths?
Glad you said that. Okay. So I thought the same thing. Why would anyone do this show?
Hmm.
Well, and I'm going to send you a couple of episodes. Okay.
Yeah,
A couple of episodes. I'll send them to you. So anyway, after the session is over, let's say, okay, let me explain this. When I do the show, I did it differently than the first guy. The first guy that did it took people into a room for an hour, worked with them, brought them to the stage, and did the show.
Yeah.
That took a lot of time.
Yeah.
So when I started doing the show, they asked me, they said, well, here's your hypnosis room. And I go, my hypnosis room? I don't want a hypnosis room. In fact, I don't want to meet anyone until they're on the set and the cameras are rolling. I'm going to hypnotize them on camera. Dare to fail, let's go. And that's how I did it. So now then, it's totally random, totally, nobody's preset.
Yeah.
I haven't worked with anybody. I haven't met anybody. What you see is legit. It's real. There are no scripts. I made the whole thing up in my head. This is what I got. I got a dossier on like everybody. You know, basically who they are, their like age, what they do, ask them their favorite color. You know, I mean, just little questions that they were asked. Oh, and before I get this, everyone on the show is screened by a psychologist, just to understand that they can do this stuff we're going to do, because I'm going to actually get into their heads and rattle around and get some like stuff out of them. That's my job.
Mhm.
But to your point, though, I would ask people after the show is over, I'd go, why did you do this show? And pretty much everybody said, because I didn't think that you could really hypnotize me. I didn't think it would work. I thought it was bullshit. And I say, now mind you, we're on this multi-million-dollar soundstage, huge. Playboy Studios, huge, okay? I say to them, look around this studio. Look at this whole place. There's millions and millions of dollars here. There are a whole crew of people from sound to light to makeup. I mean, it's just an army of people working on this show, doing all kinds of things. You think that Playboy would spend all this money if I couldn't do it? And they said, I didn't look at it like that. Okay. So anyway, they didn't think that they could be hypnotized. Obviously they could. And they told me some really revealing things about their sex life. But I will say this, the show actually brought couples closer together at times. And sometimes it really ripped them apart, you know. So we could go this way or that way. Now, after the show is over, we just don't let them leave. They get 6 to 8 weeks of paid counseling with licensed psychologists to work on their relationships.
That's good. Yeah. God. The bits I seen, I thought these couples are going to need help to
They did.
move
They
past
did.
this. But some of them,
Exactly.
I could tell it was going to really open up their relationship with honesty and integrity
It's
from
honesty.
that point
Exactly.
forward.
Exactly.
Because some of them
I
were saying the
really
same
enjoyed
things.
the show.
Yeah. Now, with that show, it seemed fairly extreme, but I'm guessing sometimes things got a little bit more extreme than what got aired because of ethic lines
yes.
of what should have been shared.
Well, like I said, I like to keep things real.
Yeah.
So I was told this. If I ever hear, and it never happened, but if I ever hear someone telling me a story about them having sex with a minor. We've got to shut down, cut the cameras. We don't want to hear it. We don't want to call the cops. But it never happened. But I was always on guard to hear anything like that because legally we are bound and we have to call the authorities. But it never happened. Fortunately, it never happened. Okay. Yeah. But as far as crazy stuff, well, I'd say this. There were people that came to Playboy after it was all done and they realized what they had said, later, and they would contact Playboy and they beg Playboy sometimes not to air it, and depending on what it was all about, what was going on, what they were telling them, Playboy would sometimes honor that and not actually air it. Sometimes, but they had. I mean, it wasn't my job with that part. My job is just to do my part on the thing. I go home. I'm out of it. I don't have to actually help people, fix people. I'm just digging for stuff. But I had heard that there were a couple of people that really pleaded with them not to air it. And there was one or two that they didn't air because of what they told them, and they did. Other people did, I heard, though, but they aired it because the people had to actually sign their rights away before they even shoot.
So, was there anything that came out in that you really found to be shocking? That
I would say, okay, there's a fallacy. And the fallacy that many hypnotists believe is that you won't tell any of your secrets. You won't do anything against your morals and values, anything like that. I got people to tell me stuff that they didn't want to tell me. How do I know that? I would ask them, and in the credits, when I send you this stuff, watch the credits, because we keep the camera rolling when I'm bringing them out of hypnosis. And then I start actually talking to them as they emerge from trance. And ask them all kinds of questions. You might hear them say things like, I can't believe I told you all that stuff. Oh my God. It felt like I couldn't not tell you. So that's what you really hear after the show is over. And like I said, a lot of people believe that reality TV shows are fake. 99.999 of them are fake. Okay, acting. It's all like set up. I cross my heart. This is the honest truth. My show is unscripted, unplanned. What you see happening is me in my head asking people questions, fishing for stuff, going after stuff, and zeroing in on stuff. That's all it is. Nobody knows what's going to happen, where it's going to go, where it's going to lead, and I just keep going. And the extreme truth comes out.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing I'd love to talk to you about is that the unspoken part of hypnosis. And I can tell from watching you work that you work a little bit with the energetic side of things and mesmerism. And so I'd love to hear how you got introduced to that and in what ways you utilize that side of things.
Discovery. Realizing that regular hypnosis, progressive relaxation induction only works on 10 to 20% of the population deeply over the age of 23 or so. Okay, that's it. Most people are not going to go into hypnosis very deeply using progressive relaxation inductions. They're just not. So the point that I'm making is I bumped into it because I was trying to find something better. Okay. And we talk about these people being what? Analytical, right? Analytical. And I'm thinking, okay, people are like analytical, resisting, they're fighting you. Well, how can you fix that? Well, I don't care what people think. I care what I can make you feel. So my hypnosis is all based around feel and emotion. I don't care what you think, what you want, but I'm going to make you feel what I want you to feel.
Hmm.
Okay. You see, everybody is suggestible. No, let me go. Everyone is hypnotizable because everyone is suggestible.
Yeah.
If you weren't suggestible, you couldn't learn.
Hmm.
You see? So, how about this? All these hypnotists out there watching this right now. Okay. How many times have you heard this? I tried hypnosis, it did not work on me. Have you ever heard that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Every hypnotist that is listening to this and that will is going to raise their hand, and they've heard it not once or twice. They've heard it many, 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 many times.
Hmm.
Okay? Now, I started thinking, why do we always hear this? Oh, you can't hypnotize me. I already tried. And the hypnotist told me that I'm just one of those strong personalities that it just doesn't work on me. I'm special. Okay. And I wondered why I kept hearing this for years and years and years and years and years. And it hit me because I just said it. Progressive relaxation induction only works on 10 to 20% of the adult population over the age of 23 or so. So the actual critical faculty fully develops in a human when they're around 23-ish, 24-ish years old. That's based on my personal um, experience with hypnosis, doing it all these years.
Hmm.
But I was teaching a class in Belgium a couple of years ago, and there was a doctor in my class, and I said that only 10 to 20% of the population will only go into hypnosis using progressive relaxation because their like critical faculty is developed at around 20, 23 or so, and it makes it much more difficult. People under 23 down are very easy to work with because they haven't developed their critical faculty as of yet. Okay.
Hmm.
She said to me, there is a medical study that she had just read that said exactly that.
Oh, wow.
And I went, what? She said, there's a medical study that says that. And I went, oh my God. Now, how did I know? Because I've hypnotized a couple 100,000 people
Hmm.
in my lifetime. So when you hypnotize that many people, you get to see things, and I can fit people into categories. You know, I've heard pretty much everything that anyone could ever tell me about hypnosis. So when I see certain things or I feel certain things, I go with my feeling and my gut. When I feel things, I go there. And people are going, how did you know that about me? Well, intuitively, I felt it and I'm out there, but also it's because I've heard it so many times before. And pretty much everybody's mind sort of works the same way. There are little people this way and that way off the curve, but pretty much people's minds work the same way, pretty much.
Yeah. Yeah. Consciousness is an interesting thing with the way how it plays out within people, that everybody's got the same buttons when it boils down to it. Everybody's got the
Yeah,
same
exactly.
things that encourage them towards or away from
Exactly.
certain kind of
Exactly.
things.
We're all kind of wired the same. You know, even if you're black, you're white, you're from Australia or Nevada, you know, I mean, we're all kind of wired the same and want the same things. You know?
Mm. For people getting into hypnosis and they're starting out, what are some of the biggest tips you've got for them going forward?
Um,
Of course, signing up for your classes. We'll
you
get to
got
that
me.
later.
You know, I say this. I truly believe that a lot of people teach because they aren't making money in the real world. So I get that. We all have to make a dollar. But if you really want to learn hypnosis, I think you've got to learn from someone that has experience doing hypnosis in the real world in all kinds of vehicles in the world, from therapy to sports to TV, to stage shows. I mean, I've done it all. Okay. And it's documented. I really did. I did all this stuff. Okay. So, therefore, if you can do hypnosis in the real world and make major money from it in the real world doing it, you probably know something.
Hmm.
And I feel that if anyone is peddling a script to you and peddling suggestibility tests to you, you should run.
Yeah.
Just freaking run. Just fucking run. Okay? Just run. Just don't. Okay, thank you. Goodbye.
Hmm.
There's another person who I really, really enjoyed. I never met them because they were dead before I was born, I think. But his name was Dave Ellman.
Yes.
And Dave Ellman's got some pretty good stuff there. Okay. He does. And I've taken some of his stuff and I've built upon it. And I feel I've made his stuff even stronger than what he made it. And I feel his stuff is very strong.
Oh,
And I made it even stronger. But again, like I said, if we go back, I wouldn't be here. You wouldn't be talking to me. No one would listen to me. No one would be paying me money if I never would have done the stage first. Hypnotherapists need to really understand this. If you do not know or understand the secrets of stage hypnosis, you are missing out on what hypnosis really is truly all about. You've got to know the secrets of the stage to truly understand hypnosis as a whole. I'm not saying that you have to do stage hypnosis, but you've got to understand the principles behind it. That makes you a much better hypnotherapist, way better.
Yeah. I found taking hypnosis out of my therapy room was what really amplified it.
Oh,
being able to just
yeah,
dare to fail, trying
yeah,
as often
yeah,
as I can
sure.
to play. That
I agree.
puts you on your game, and it helps in that moment when you got that tough person in the therapy room.
Yeah,
You got a lot of other arrows to throw and approaches to do. If they're expecting it coming in front of them all the time, then you step behind them.
yeah, yeah. And with the stage, though, there's so many stage tricks and things that you can do to people to convince them that hypnosis is real.
Yep.
There's so many things I can do with someone, and they're sitting there going, okay, remember I said I get people to feel something. So if I get you to feel something, right, in the moment, you're going, oh my God, I felt that. I can look at someone, let's say, well, you know what, I don't want to give it away because I'm going to be doing it in Australia and I don't want people coming to my training to hear me talking about it, and then they're fighting me and resisting, and he's going to do that thing to me. No, I believe that I have a psychological edge over people when I do something, psychological edge. But I do believe in feeling and emotion. I do believe that I get into intuition. Words, something comes into my head. Okay, story. I'm on a blind date. Okay, a blind date. Never met this woman. A blind date, right? I call her up and we're going to have lunch. She's a very high-powered elite lawyer in Las Vegas. I know who that she is because she's very, 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 very famous in Vegas. She has no clue, sort of like who I am, but she heard that I'm a hypnotist. Okay. So anyway, I call her up and we set up the date. And she goes, hypnosis, I don't believe in it at all. And I said, okay. And she goes, I tell you what, hypno boy. That's what she said to me. She says, what's the name of my dog? if you're such a hypnotist. And I'm thinking in my head, like, I'm not a psychic, I'm a hypnotist. But I didn't say that.
Yeah.
I did not say that. I paused and I went, Rocky. She went, oh my God, what are you? It came to me. Here's one. I was in Australia. I was in Sydney, Australia years ago. And I was doing some hypnotherapy, a stop smoking session on a random person that like knew someone that actually knew someone that knew me and wanted to stop smoking. I'm in Sydney and I do it. So I'm sitting there and I'm working with her, right? And I go, what is it about porcupines that's so interesting to you? And she goes, what? You said, she said, I collect porcupines. I've got a whole collection of porcupines. Now, come on, porcupines? It came to me to ask her that. Those are the kind of connections and things, if you just open up, and you can't force it.
No.
It just is. It could be woo, woo, woo. I believe in the woo, woo, woo. Yeah. I do. I believe in it because it works for me. And I teach people how to get the woo, woo, woo. Okay? I teach them how do I do it. And I also teach a method that if you can't get the woo, 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 I teach people how to do something that you may have heard of, and it's called cold reading. Yeah. Okay? I have a very interesting, easy method to cold read people. Okay? And if you can't do the real woo, 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 you can act like you can, because this is pretty close to it. People will think that you really are doing the like woo, woo, woo. You know. And also, I mean, like rambling on here. Also, I believe that when people come to see a hypnotist, they are looking for the hypnotist, the hypnotherapist, to go or snap their fingers and they're fixed.
Yeah.
They do. But we're taught to tell them, oh, I don't have any power. You have all the power. But they came to you because they believe they don't have the power and they can't do it, and they're looking outside of themselves to get fixed.
Yes.
Well, I really believe that we do have the power, energy, to actually help these people with their challenges. I don't believe that all hypnosis is self-hypnosis.
No.
I don't buy into that. Okay? No. I'm the hypnotist, and I know how to hypnotize you and get you where that I want you to go to do what I want to do with you. I can manipulate you. Yeah, I can. Now, think about it this way, people out there. I ask hypnotists all the time and just regular folk, I say, has anyone ever gotten you to do something against your morals and values before? And most people say, well, sure, yeah. People have got me to actually do stuff that I didn't really want to do. Or have you ever gotten someone to do something against their morals and values? And possibly you did on both sides, okay? And my next question is to them, well, did you hypnotize them first? Well, no. Well, wait a minute. If you can manipulate someone without hypnosis, why couldn't you manipulate someone with hypnosis or get into them some way in trance? I'm just saying.
Yeah. And if it's for their greater good, like an NBA player, that can be extremely powerful. And all they need is that thing to make that happen. I've seen that bit with the boxer that you were talking about. Yes. And he won the fight in 90 seconds.
Yes. And you saw the session Before the fight, I'm asking him, and he's telling me. And it took like a few more seconds than he said in the first round.
Yeah.
I hypnotized him. I'm telling him, what do you see? I'm gonna knock him out. And I think he said like 20 seconds or something
It was
that.
20 seconds, yeah.
20 seconds, but it took him what, 90 seconds?
Yeah.
Okay, it's like, I'll take it.
Yeah, his
I'll
mind
take
had
it.
it, and it worked.
And that happened right before he fought. That was that day, maybe an hour or so before he's out there. He's deep. He's gone. What do you say? I'm at 20. I'm gonna knock him out in 20 seconds. The fight comes on. 90 seconds. He knocks him out. Whoa.
Yeah. Our subconscious thing in the background is way more powerful than we give it respect for. And
correct.
Hypnosis helps you tap into that. And if you command that power, you command that action, and it can do amazing things.
That is correct, Lance. Correct.
Yeah. So you're coming to Australia you're doing Brisbane first at end of August, I think, the 30th, 31st, and the 1st of September?
And the 1st of, in Brisbane.
And then you're down in Melbourne from the 6th to the 10th?
6th to the 10th, yes.
And what sort of stuff are you covering in those classes?
I am going to be covering, honestly, A to Z, meaning, let me say this. I don't teach from a book. I don't teach from what you can find in a book or you can learn anywhere. When someone comes to my training, you are learning my method, my way, my style that got me successful in hypnosis. I'm teaching you what I know works in the real world. So you're not going to hear anything. In fact, you're going to hear things that are going to completely contradict everything that you've already learned. I'm going to pretty much contradict it all and show you why this is better and why it works. Now then, I'm not saying that my way necessarily is the only way. I'm not. There's all kind of tools. There's all kind of things. But I'm saying that my stuff is good, it works, and it's different, and it's powerful, and you should have it in your toolbox, on your tool belt. I've got some tools that you haven't seen that are going to make you more powerful and give you superpowers. I'm going to teach you my style of hypnotherapy for smoking, for like weight loss, and anything else that you want to learn. I'm going to also teach people my way of doing age regression, okay? I'm going to teach people how to get people into hypnosis deeply, because a lot of people are not confident with their hypnosis skill. They're just not. They are afraid they're going to fail. Well, I'm going to show you ways that you're not going to fail, where you're going to be very successful very, very quickly, and people are going to believe that you know what you're doing instantaneously. So I'm going to teach you everything that I know, everything that I got. I'm going to throw it at them, and I'm going to help people to go to a higher level of hypnosis.
Sounds fantastic. And for those people that are listening, either after September or that are not Australian, is there a way they can access your training outside of that?
Well, I happen to be doing a training this weekend.
Oh.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This weekend in Las Vegas. Come on over. It's very hot. Bring some shorts and some sandals. I'm doing a training on, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd this weekend in Las Vegas. I also do sell, if people contact me on Facebook, Justin Tranz, or at my website, justintranz.com. And of course, the Tranz is Tranz. Contact me, find me. I do sell a raw footage of me teaching classes. It's just raw footage of like everything that I did in the class. And I sell it only because of this reason. Somebody came to me and said, years ago, they came to me and said, I can't make it. Do you have anything on video or a book or something? And I said, you know what? I do have raw footage from my classes that I teach. And he goes, well, like, sell me that. And I go, look, it's just the like cameras there, raw footage. It's not like made up nicely with titles. It's just, here's the raw footage, day 1, day 2, day 3.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And he said to me, well, how much? And I said, well, back then people were paying me, $1,500 for it. You're going to hear everything they heard, so I got to charge you $1,500 for it. And he goes, okay. I go, really? Really? So I go, now listen to me. This is day 1, day 2, day 3. It's no fancy. It's not. It's just the raw footage. It's you. I'll take it. I send it to him. He calls me back and goes, oh my God, this is phenomenal. I've been selling them ever since. It's just raw footage of a seminar that I did. And everyone that I've ever sold it to, at $1,500, okay, I've never had a complaint, ever, ever, ever. And that's the honest truth. Never did. Because I felt kind of weird selling it to him. You know what I mean? Like, it's just a videotape. And he bought it. He loved it. And because that people have never complained and they've always liked it and they've always said, oh my God, this is great. That's why that I keep on selling it like I do. So there's that way. But also, if someone wants to learn from me, contact me. I'll figure out a way to come there. You come here, whatever. We'll figure out something and make it happen. So, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I'll put all the links to that in the show notes. And
Sure.
obviously, anytime in the future, people will be able to catch a show of you in their city or in Vegas, because I'm presuming you're going to keep doing some stage stuff for quite some time.
I am. I'm not doing any shows right this moment. I'm more so focused on TV stuff, stuff like that, projects like that right now. So I will do more shows, but it isn't my focus right now.
Okay. Is there a show you're working on at the moment?
Yes, it is.
Is it something you can talk about?
It has to do with hypnosis and sex, kind of back in the vein of the Playboy show, Extreme Truth, but it has to do with hypnosis and enhancing your sex life, So I'm going to be teaching people, talking about people how to have a better sex life. Who isn't interested in that? Or no, most people are. Most people are. Yeah.
It sounds exciting. Well, we'll keep our eyes and ears out for that show.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much for coming on. It's been a pleasure chatting to you. We look forward to seeing and hearing more from you.
Yeah. Well, Lance, I really appreciate you reaching out to me and having me on your show. I really, really do. I am humbled that you asked me, and I mean that. So I appreciate the platform, the time to actually let people know me, who I am, etc. So thank you, and thank you again.
It's been a pleasure having a chat. So thanks.
Wonderful.